Welcome to the Rusted Garden Homestead. This video is all about eggplant care. Getting towards the end of July, eggplant love the heat. It's been in the upper 90s. They've really taken off. They've gotten actually so tall that they've fallen over. They need to be staked up. We're going to do that. I have a couple different varieties in there. You can see eggplant is forming. These plants are going to get massive over the next couple of weeks. So staking is really going to be important because these plants can actually break. The fruit gets so heavy it breaks. So let's start with what's on the leaves. That's insect dust. Eggplant are really prone to flea beetles. Those are why you have all these tiny little holes in your plant. So I had the flea beetles roll in again. I put the dust down late last night. It's early morning now. I'm going to rinse it off. You can leave it on, but leaving dust on, because dust kills good and bad insects, greater chance that you may harm pollinators or good insects. So I put it on at night. Flea beetles run through it. Wash it off in the morning, and that reduces possible damage or harm to the good insects. We're also going to give these plants water-soluble fertilizer. I'll talk about that. That's fertilizer that's immediately available to the plant. They can use it right away. And we'll do a top dressing with organic granular fertilizer, some compost, one or the other, or both, however you want to do it. But that will just put some fertilizer on top of the soil, and that will slowly kind of seep into the root zone over the next week. So we're really going to give the plants the fertilizer they need to finish out the season strong. But let's get these staked up first, cleaned up, and I'll just show you some basic care so that you can, have your plants finish out wonderfully for the season, and you'll get tons of eggplant. There are 4 plants in here, so there are actually 5 stakes. I'll show you why there's a 5th one in there. These should have been staked much earlier. This plant was a replacement, so this is really a good example of how I do it. So just a single stake, whatever size you want, it should be at least 5 feet tall. These plants will get really big. And it's just a nice loose circle, and you want to tuck in 1 stem or branch, maybe 2, and just support them that way. And as the plant grows upward, you would just kind of raise the loops and really support the growth. Many branchings will come out of here. This plant is going to get huge, like I've been saying. So you may have to drop another stake out here to support the growth that's coming out, and that's a good problem to have. But this guy looks pretty good. I also mulched. After you put these in, if you're doing it by seed, you want to wait till they come up, maybe are a couple inches tall, and then mulch around them. If you're doing transplants, mulch right away. That helps keep moisture in there. Eggplants send out surface roots everywhere, so you want to make sure when we go to watering, I'll show you how to do it, that you're watering the surface roots, you're giving it a nice deep watering, right at the base too. But the mulch will help keep water in, and that was really beneficial over the last 7-10 days here when the temperatures really got up into the upper 90s. Different variety of eggplant here, and because I was late in tying it, and you can see how much it branches out there. I mean, they just go crazy. We'll also go in and we'll take out some of the dead leaves. We'll prune out some of the bottom. I already started that, so you can slowly start pruning leaves upward, just allow airflow to go into there. But because this plant was so big, I have a big piece of twine here holding up the branches out this way. I put in another post to support these outer branches so that they will grow up this post. What you don't want to do is you don't want to pull all the plant in really tight like that when it gets too big, because the leaves will have problems really doing what they're supposed to do. The inner leaves will brown, greater chance for disease and all that. You want the plant to be open. As this plant corrects itself, because it was laying on its side and the leaves curled upward, I will let the leaves kind of turn upward, and then I will go in and kind of thin out certain leaves in there. But you get an idea. There's no perfection here in staking up your eggplant. I thought they were going to be black beauties. They look like maybe the 8-ball variety. Same idea. Lots of extra branches coming out that will need to be staked up. You can cut them off if you want, if you don't want that many. Some of these are going to have to be harvested now, but you definitely want to get your plant growing upward, and you want to begin to remove leaves from the bottom, like down there. And you can see they start coming back. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to do a top dressing. That's just going to be any organic granular fertilizer that's around a 5-5-5. It can be, a 3-4-6, a 6-2-2, whatever you want. The plants don't really care. And we're just going to scatter it around the top. That's a slow release. As we water, as it rains, microbiology will break it down. The moisture will rinse it into the root zone, that top couple of inches. The plants will enjoy that. And then after everything is down, we're going to use the water-soluble fertilizer. We'll water them in. I'll talk about that. You start taking the leaves off the bottom when the plant is about that size. That's, 2 feet maybe, a little past that. And I've removed the leaves that were all right around here. Just cut them and drop them to the ground. You're also getting in, looking for leaves that may have fungal marks on them. Maybe they look a little bit yellow. Just go right in and snip it off. You can also be looking inside, like here's a leaf that's just growing up against the stake. It's on the inside. Remove it. The inner leaves that are blocked by the outer leaves really just don't need to be there. It's the outer leaves here that'll be collecting the sun. So you can look in, like we'd remove all the leaves right in there and just kind of open up the plant. You want to start when the plant is about this size. It's a little bit easier. I'll be doing that again when the leaves turn. And I just want to point out, you'll just see all the leaves that are right in there that can be removed. Like this guy looks a little bit beat up. Just cut it off. Same with this one right over here. And that's all you really have to do. Now, when it comes to top dressing, you could, if you have compost, you'd want to put down maybe 2 inches of compost just all across this bed, and you can go really up close to the stem. Maybe leave just like 2 fingers away. Compost won't really hurt your plant. You just don't want to pile the organic granular around the base. So it could be 2 inches of compost. That would be perfect. So I use a basic, this is actually plant tone. I don't necessarily recommend that, but it was on sale. It's just an organic granular. You can use my Amazon shop links in the video description. That will take you to places that have examples of organic granular, water-soluble, etc. And pick whatever you want, whatever fits your budget. Plants don't really care about the organic granular type like this. Just has to have N, P, and K represented. Nice handful scattered there. And I would just go all the way down, scattering it around, just like that. This has already been mulched. After I water this in, cut the grass again, I would put another inch or so of mulch on top of here and help just keep the moisture in. The mulch will break down, it will support soil life. And just real quick, I'm just scattering it just like that all the way around. That's just a basic top dressing, and you would just go through the whole half of the bed. You could do the whole bed, the tomatoes will love it too, but generally speaking, about a foot, 2 feet away from the plant base, you're just putting down the organic granular. Let me finish that, then we'll get to the water-soluble. So I'm using fish emulsion. This is a 2-gallon container. You can use any water-soluble organic fertilizer, and water-soluble means the plants are going to be able to access the nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium in here immediately and pull it into their system. It gives them what they need quickly. The organic granular is slowly going to release over the weeks and months and feed back to the plant. Fish emulsion does have an odor. If for some reason you're using it, you don't like the smell, or it brings in animals, I don't have that problem, you can try AgroThrive. I'm affiliated with them, and you can find them in my video description and get a discount if you want to try out their organic water-soluble. So it's 2 gallons in this container. You don't pour a whole gallon or 2 gallons on the plant. That seems to be the problem people have. People have the most problem, I should say, with figuring out how much of the water is soluble. And it's just something like this, right at the base. Give them the fish emulsion on the out part. Quick wash like that. The top 4 to 6 inches of the surface roots, we'll use this. The stuff that you put at the base will sink down, and you basically just do that. I haven't even used a whole gallon yet in here, and that'll be enough, 2 gallons really, to do this whole space all the way down. Every plant doesn't need a full gallon. Just kind of spread it out across the surface. Let me finish that up. Now that everything is down fertilizer wise, we want to just kind of wash everything into the soil, but more importantly, we want to water the plants. When your temperatures are in the mid 90s, upper 90s, you definitely want to be watering your eggplant, even though they're really lovers of the heat, at least every other day. You may have to go with every day. When that top 2, 4, 6 inches of the top surface of the soil dries out, where the sun's beating down there and heating up, it can damage your plants. Eggplants are a lot more forgiving with the heat, but your other plants really enjoy that moisture. But do the same thing. So you're going to water in the base, and it's a good 10 or 15 seconds, every other day. The plants use the water to move nutrients into their system. So if you don't have enough water in there and things are drying up, they're just not able to pull in all the nutrients. So watering makes a huge difference. You know, they can get by with just something like this once a week. They're just not going to thrive, and that's the whole goal. So we water in the base 10-15 seconds, and then you want to water in the area in between. That's where the surface roots are, and it can be just as long, 10-15 seconds, and just really soak it in. If you're going to be watering, you want to do it the right way to just make sure the plants have their best start. And I would just work my way down, you know, same thing right at the base, a lot of water, that'll get to the deeper roots beneath it. And then we're watering, it's going to be hard to see, but right in between here to make sure the shallow roots, the surface roots, get the water that they need. This is really probably all you have to do at this point in the way of fertilizing, assuming your beds are set up pretty nicely. Maybe towards the end of August, beginning of September, if the plants are still doing well, you want to give them another top dressing, another water-soluble feeding. But this is going to work really well. When I have grass clippings, I'm going to put down another layer of green grass, maybe an inch or two, and I think these plants will be good to go. Thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe. I'll show you how these plants do over the next several weeks. And please check out my seed shop at therustedgarden.com.